What is going on? What is happening with you, my beautiful people? It's your boy Caleb here at Midway Vibes Chinwag Podcast. You already know we got someone very special. We got the real Jay-Z here in the building. He gonna be preaching. He gonna be getting us right. He gonna be giving us education. It's gonna be an amazing experiment.
That's right. I'm ready for it.
Yeah. So what have you been up to, man?
Well, I work at Texas State University. Yeah. I'm there full time, teaching in the Digital Media Innovation Department. I do virtual reality, coding.
Yeah.
Teach about blogging, social media, all the digital stuff of the world.
Yeah.
And then I'm also a pastor here in town, San Marcos Community Church, which Caleb was my youth at one point, and that was great. And so I do that. I do all kinds of things, Caleb.
Yeah.
I've been up to all kinds of things, but I'm doing well. Just got out of class.
Yeah. You're teaching, right?
Yes, I was teaching my virtual reality class.
Yeah. How's that? Do you have houses and stuff in the virtual world?
Yes. So the class that I teach is, so I don't know if have you tried a headset on?
Yeah, one time.
Okay. All right. So you know about the metaverse, you know about the virtual world.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay. So the idea is that we use it for storytelling. A lot of people use it for gaming or for sports or whatever, but we use it for they call it the empathy generator. So if you've never been to a place or you've never experienced a situation or you've never met somebody, you put the headset on and now you've experienced it.
Yeah, now you're there.
You're there,
Yeah.
So have you heard about this garbage island?
I haven't.
Okay, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean where all the world's trash, people dump, China, America, everybody just dumps their trash.
Sure. Yeah.
It all congregates in the middle of the Pacific Ocean into a big junk island.
Yeah.
It's a trash.
I feel like I've seen pictures of it when I was younger, in elementary school. I feel like they definitely
Probably,
showed that.
yes, to scare you.
Yeah.
This is where our world is coming to.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've heard about it. We've seen the pictures, but imagine putting a headset on and walking on the junk. And they would you could go to seagulls and see them dead on the ground, and inside their stomachs, open it and see plastic. It's stuff that visually affects you.
Yeah.
So this kind of thing, if you've never done it before, you've never been there, now you have greater empathy for situations and people and things like that. So anyway, that's what I do. I focus on storytelling in virtual reality. So
what's one of the coolest stories you've had from personally and one of your students?
Okay, so one of the craziest ones I did was solitary confinement.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically,
that made sense.
Yes, it is. It's crazy. And so basically I've never been in solitary confinement. I don't know what that's like, but there's a thing where you put the headset on and you're in a room about this size, a 10 by 10 bedroom, and you're with somebody and they're saying, I spend 90% of my time in my bedroom. You look out the window with them and it's I just look at the world through this window, and it's very kind of weird. Yeah, because you're what are we doing? And then he's because I spent the last 10 years in solitary confinement. And then you go into his cell and you're in another cell about the same size of this room, and he's here's where I would write on the wall every day that I was here, the tally marks of every day. And then he'd come over here, let's go over to the door. This is where I would send messages to the people across the hall. So we'd send message and get them back. So this is our only form of communication. So he's for 10 years I've been in solitary confinement. And then he got released, and then it ends with you in that room again and him saying, looking out the window and saying, I spend 90% of my day in my bedroom because I'm afraid to go outside because solitary confinement made me so scared of the outside world. And it's just you leave the story being dang, that sucks, because we don't think about what's
in the way the consequences that it brings.
Yeah, and what solitary confinement can do to a person, and it's it makes you think. It's one of those things that. So that was a really.
That was your story?
No, that was one that I experienced, it was one that I was man, this is deep. Yeah. But on a lighter note, I've seen other ones that are my students will make a game. One student made a escape house. You ever been in an escape room?
I have. I don't like them because I'm not good.
No, okay, yeah, you got to be really savvy. But so basically she made a escape house in a VR headset, and it was insane. So yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. So what do you think so I'm in this all day every day, but
I'm not. Yeah.
No, you.
So I didn't know it was I didn't know it could be that intense. I kind of I thought it was more for gaming. I didn't know it could be used. But now it kind of makes sense because if you think about it, if you could use it for gaming and other things, why wouldn't you go use it for
storytelling?
Storytelling.
Well, so for gaming, like people are saying, like, what's the big like killer app? What's gonna make everyone have a headset in their house? Like, you don't have a headset in your house. What would make you want to get one? That's the big question. So like,
I think I kind of want to get one just to like so I can kind of be around the world.
Right? Yeah,
like,
you can.
Without me having to be there.
You can visit anywhere you want.
Yeah.
Google Map, Google Street View.
Have you ever used the Peloton?
I was thinking about getting one.
Yeah,
honestly.
So there's Peloton, like there's an option where you could like free ride,
Ooh.
and like you can like go to certain parts of like the world. And
Really?
Like, yeah, and you can like do cycling there. It like takes you on the screen. It's like really cool, and that was my exact thought. I was like, they should
Really?
have a VR headset.
It gets sweaty in there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Well, I think like that's the big question. Like, what's the killer app that's going to get in everyone's laps in their houses? And I thought it was going to be COVID. When COVID hit and like nobody could go to sports games, nobody could go shopping, nobody could do anything, I thought, what an opportunity for like Facebook to send like an Oculus on a cheap scale, or do a deal with like the NBA and say, yeah, you can't go to a game, but put a headset on and feel like you're there. You know, like that to me, like sports or gaming are like the two things that I feel like would like put it in everybody's home. Yeah. Like if the NBA said, like, we're not allowing you to come to the games this year, but if you pay $100, we'll give you a season pass to every game. You could be at courtside, seats. Yeah. You could switch your camera view from courtside to, like, wherever you want. You could be on a player's, like, jersey, like a 360 camera on their jersey. Who knows? And, like, the Super Bowl just happened. Like, wouldn't it be cool? You could sell unlimited tickets. And I just feel like sports is a huge way that people could like have a virtual reality headset.
Yeah.
But
now, was that your idea, or have you kind of
copyright Jay-Z?
Yeah, that's really cool.
No, I mean
that is a good way because almost everyone watches sports.
Yeah, and you can sell unlimited tickets.
Yeah,
with physical seats,
you can only sell
exactly with VR, and you don't even have to sell them for as much. Yeah. Like imagine selling 20,000 seats at half the price. You're making a ton of money and you're not doing any of the work. So I feel like there's a lot of places that VR can be helpful. Yeah. Like training, like EMS training, surgery. Surgeons are learning how to do surgery on bodies in a VR headset. Yeah. So it's crazy. I'm excited for where it's going to go. Yeah. Facebook just changed their name to Meta. Yeah. The metaverse. So what do you think about the metaverse?
I don't really know a lot about it, but I know just a tad bit. I kind of did a little bit of like research into it, but then it got kind of that's kind of like previously, like right before I talked to you. Yeah. I know a little bit about it, like the blockchain, the NFTs.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't know. I actually probably don't know anything compared to how big it is.
Nah, no. I mean, it's just the beginning. I think like definitely. with when the internet first started, I feel like when email came out, they were like, "Whoa, this crazy thing called email! Look at this is the killer app that makes like the internet useful." And I feel like but that's such a drop in the bucket to what the internet really was. And I feel like that's the same for like the metaverse. We could see like small pieces of it, but like we don't know really the full weight of it. And I think we will for a while. But
and how much does like the VR headset tie into like the metaverse?
Well, to get into the metaverse, you have to have some kind of a headset or virtual reality type of.
What does the metaverse like look like?
I don't know, Caleb. I really do not know. I had my first experience like in the metaverse a couple weeks ago, VR chat. Yeah. And it was weird. It was very, very weird. Like they give you an avatar, and so I was a bunny with no neck. I was a humanoid like bunny man.
And you
with
didn't get
no
to
neck.
Customize who you were. They just
I could, but like they just threw me like being this like weird bunny man. But and so then a friend of mine invited me to his like New York City apartment, and so I went there, and he was like a cat, and it was like very just what are we doing and what's happening and who's out here, who's in the metaverse. Yeah. So it's just like it's interesting. Like I personally like, and I like it to an extent. Like I think it's cool to like maybe for 20 minutes. Yeah. But there's people that like live their lives. Yeah. Yes. And I can see why.
Yeah, because you can like if you don't like how you're living your life here, you can like easily just customize it and change it.
Yeah, but isn't that a cop out?
Yeah.
No, there's two sides to it because it's like
if
you're someone who has like a disability and you like can't walk, but you put a headset on and you have that ability, that's amazing. Yeah. Or you want to like
now you're able to experience something you never would have been able to.
Yeah, and like that's awesome. But then the other side of it is like, well, you could rely too much on that, and then like get anything you want in your virtual world, and then it's not real life, you know. So I don't know, it's different.
Yeah.
But have you seen the show Upload?
I haven't.
Okay, it's on Amazon Video. Do you have Amazon Prime Video?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, Upload. This guy is driving down the road. He gets into a car accident, and it's like years in the future, and they're rushing him to the hospital, and he has a choice either for them to do surgery and maybe fix him, or go into a lucid state where he's like, his body is like on ice, but his conscious is in virtual reality.
What do you mean on ice?
So like they preserve his body until they can figure out how to fix it.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah. And like they think like cryogenically frozen, like they think all these celebrities are like.
Yeah, isn't what's his name? Walt Disney.
I've heard that.
Have you heard of that theory that he's gonna like come alive?
Frozen.
Yeah, that he's gonna, because like they said they're gonna unfreeze him when they found they found a cure to lung cancer.
No,
and now they're like finding like a lot of cures for lung cancer here recently.
Well, did you hear the conspiracy that why Disney came out with Frozen?
I did, yeah.
Because people were Googling Walt Disney Frozen, and they had to change it.
So
they made a movie on it so that it would fall down in search results.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think, so in this movie, or in the show, like, he gets into a car accident, he goes into a state of, like, euphoria, and he's just, like, in heaven. You can do whatever you want. But you can also FaceTime with people that are still living. So he's like, he went to his own funeral, he talks to his girlfriend all the time.
Yeah.
But he's virtual, everything. Anything he wants, he can have.
So it's like his conscience, like his spirit, his soul is like in the virtual world.
And then until they either find a cure or they find, or like, I don't know. So anyway, now there's a twist at the end, because at the end of the first episode, something happens. I don't want to give it away, but it's like
a big turn.
You're like, what? And so I definitely think you should watch it. But
yeah. Have you seen it? This isn't really like virtual, but it has like crazy twists. You said crazy twists. Have you seen Fractured?
No.
On Netflix?
No.
It's super crazy. It's like it's a really crazy movie. It's like kind of like it's like a mentally crazy like towards the end. But like walk through the whole movie, you're kind of like it's weird. Like I watched it the first time and I was really hooked, and then the second time I rewatched it and I was like, this is a really weird movie.
Yeah. Fractured?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay, I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah.
But
it's about like a dad, a mom, and a daughter, and he like loses them in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's got to be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite the story.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where all this stuff is going in the end, like virtual, augmented, all this stuff. But
it's kind of like the unknown.
It's the unknown. With as much as Apple and Google and Facebook and everybody's putting into it, it kind of scares me, because the idea of the metaverse should be that it's a decentralized environment.
Yeah.
The beauty of the internet is that nobody owns the internet. And if Facebook thinks that they can own the metaverse, then it defeats the purpose of the metaverse, you know, to allow people to have freedom and all that kind of stuff. If it's centralized into a company like Facebook, they're going to lose those freedoms. So I feel like until we get a decentralized internet where we don't have these huge monopolies running things, the metaverse, I don't think will really take off until
we have like a free metaverse. That definitely, I could totally agree with that, because like even on Facebook, you get like flagged for like so many things that are
I know, and
nonsense.
It's like the point of the internet is a free speech. It's a place of like sharing, and then like, you know, the negatives of like most of our media. Like if you think back like 20 years ago, 30 years ago, with the media as it was, there were people in power who decided what you saw at the 5 o'clock news. There were people who decided what comes out in the newspaper. They are like news directors. They're, you know, or conglomerates, or people who are high up. They're called gatekeepers. They decide what you see. And then when the internet came, it was like, oh, everyone has a voice. Everyone can publish. Anybody can say what they want. So it kind of created a new democracy. Yeah. And then these monopolies start coming up. Like Facebook is now the 5 o'clock news, deciding what you see, what kind of mood you're in. You know, it's like,
definitely,
I don't know.
It's like all so negative news.
It is, yeah.
I feel like I started unfollowing them, because I realized it was a lot of like sports pages that I was following, and they'll just be sharing like news. Yeah. So I like stopped following them, but they like still come up on my feed.
Really?
Yeah, and like I've even pressed like to like remove from my feed, and then like continue coming back.
How do they find you?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
They're out there.
How do you feel about like whenever you're like talking into your phone, when you're like talking into your phone, or like you don't even have to be talking like physically to it, but you're like in open conversation.
It hears you.
And it hears you.
I swear I have an ad right now on my Facebook probably for an Oculus because we just were talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, I've had that where you like just talk about, you know, somebody was talking about dry skin the other day at a staff meeting I was in, and then later on somebody that was in that meeting texted the group, hey, I just got this eczema ad. And she has nothing to do with eczema. She doesn't have it, but it heard our meeting. Somebody talked about dry skin.
Yeah.
I think that it's crazy how much these devices listen. Definitely. Have you seen the thing where like Mark Zuckerberg covers his camera on his laptop?
No. I do that. I used to do that to my school computer. At
really?
High school, like our high school computers.
Yeah, watching that.
Yeah.
Well, and Alexa, I use Alexa all the time.
Yeah.
I use like...
that kind of like scares me, like to make the transition into like full, like having like things that I know it'd be so convenient, but like to kind of have that is kind of like sketchy.
It is. You know they're listening.
Yeah.
They have to be listening because they're listening for the trigger word constantly. So anytime I say something like Alexa, it pops up. Yeah. So it was obviously listening to everything else I was saying. I don't mind. I mean, like, what am I saying that like I don't care if they know, but like I do think that there's a line that has to be drawn at some point.
Yeah. And like, who gets to listen to it?
Right.
Yeah.
And AI, what are they tracking and what do they know? I don't know. This whole world of like metaverse, virtual, augmented, AI, and everything, I think is just like we're on the cusp of it.
Yeah.
And there has to be regulation. Like there has to be like some kind of a protection, you know, for people.
Cause AI is the next level.
It is. I know.
I was actually looking into when I was looking into like mics and all the stuff I was needing. They were like trying to like advertise to me like it's like an AI device and it like it's for your camera. Oh. And it like it's just like a kind of like the stand, and then you prop it up and then you set your device on there and it like moves it for you, so it's like a whole human.
What?
Yeah, and it's not even expensive. I think it was like $80.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it like follows you like wherever you lead, wherever you go.
So do you know like the differences of the different types of AI?
I do not.
All right. So there's automation. Like AI is a spectrum. So you have automation, which is like when you do a Google search, a bot will go and take your query and search this huge index and bring back your results. Yeah. That's like automation, or like any kind of thing that, you know, you can like a command F like on a computer to find a word on a Word document. That's automated. Like that's great. That's fine because that helps us humans. And then there's a level called machine learning, which is like, hey Alexa, turn on the light. Yeah. Or hey Alexa, or something similar. So like you could say, hey Alexa, what's the weather? Hey Alexa, is it cold outside? Hey, whatever is similar. So there's like these language libraries that can kind of understand what you meant. And so that's like called machine learning. It'll kind of understand what you mean and make assumptions and do things. And then there's something called deep machine learning. And that's the scary one, where it will learn your habits and it will make assumptions based on things you didn't even ask it to do or say.
So it kind of has like emotions.
Kind of.
Yeah. Like so it like kind of like read us.
Yeah. Like it'll like if it would say, hey Alexa, it's dark in here, and it would turn a light on. It would assume that you want the light on. You didn't say to turn the light on. Or hey Alexa, it's cold, turn the heat on. It made that decision for you. Yeah. So that's like the next level of like learning.
And Alexa is already like that?
Not really. Not that I've noticed. Yeah. But like that's an example of it. Is that like that's where we're headed? Yeah. Because in some ways it's great because like your phone could say, hey, I noticed that you leave your house every day at 5, every Monday at 5. If you leave now, traffic is light, you know, but I never told you that I leave my house every day at 5, and I didn't tell you.
My phone does that too, like with my workout, because I have a timer, and it always sends me an alert around my usual workout time. Like if I'm not working out, it tells me like set it like a thing. Yeah, like to me, that's like, it's learning. It's like Terminator, like, I'm a learning computer, where it like learns about you and then it can turn on you, like. Yeah. And that's what Elon Musk always talks about is like, you know, Stephen Hawking said that humanity will die because of AI. Yeah. And Elon Musk already thinks we're in a simulation, but I mean, I think there's a reason to fear AI. Yeah, definitely. What do you mean by like Elon Musk feels like I used to follow Elon Musk a lot during quarantine, but then like once kind of we got out of quarantine, like I kind of stopped keeping up with him. Really? Yeah. Yeah.
He's out there, man.
Yeah,
he's
definitely out there.
a genius, but
Yeah.
he's like.
Can you like explain like what do you mean by like he says we're in a simulation?
I wish I understood more about it, but I think that he thinks that we are computers. We are in a computerized simulation of like none of this is real. You're not real. I'm not real. We're just part of. I don't know. I really don't know. He thinks that it's just like The Matrix, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? Have you seen that movie?
I haven't.
You need to see The Matrix.
This is the second person
You
told me
have to see them. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Top 10 for sure. Not just because it's like an interesting, funny, like fun sci-fi movie. It's not funny, but it's like an interesting, like really good movie.
Yeah.
But it just like, it honestly to me has a lot of overarching religious like overtones.
Yeah. So
And
it's like a lot of things you can get out of it.
Yes,
Definitely.
it's good. So you should watch it. Yeah.
Do you know what it's on?
It's on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime.
I just watched
Cool.
it, rewatched it like
Alright.
a month ago.
Well,
It's
I'm gonna
that
check
good.
out.
But man, it's crazy where our world is
Doesn't
headed.
Elon Musk has like AIs, right? That he's like trying to push out to the public.
I don't really know. He's mostly focused on like the self-driving cars
Yeah.
and battery and energy, solving those problems. But I don't know what he's doing in the world of like AI
Yeah.
stuff.
I definitely want to get. I like those Teslas, but like I feel like I don't know. I was like
Did you
all
get one?
for it. Yeah, I would get one. I was all for it at once, and I was like, this is definitely gonna be the first car
Yeah.
I get. And now I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want that.
Have you been in one?
Car. I have never been in one.
Okay, if you go to the Domain or in South Lamar right now, you can sign up to get an hour of free Tesla riding. You can go wherever you want. They give you a full hour wherever
Yeah.
you want. So I did it with some friends, and we got in the car, and I thought it was like you get in, type in where you're going, press enter, and it takes you.
Yeah.
That's fully self-driving. That's not really what they do yet. I mean, and I think it's illegal right now, but
Like to have fully self-driving.
fully self-driving. I don't know. Maybe it's legal, but it's not rolled out. I think it's in
Yeah.
beta testing. Anyway, so but it does have a level of automation to where if you press, the self-driving, it will go,
Yeah.
and it will, if it sees an obstruction, it will stop, and it will turn, and if you put a blinker on, it will switch lanes, and it will do some very basic things. It's like
Yeah.
a glorified cruise control.
Yeah.
But once you hit a stoplight, you have to take control and press the gas and go again.
Or it won't take off.
Everyone won't take off. But
Yeah.
I was with some friends, and I didn't really understand it at all. And we were
Yeah.
all trying to understand what was going on. So anyway, we get on the highway, and those things have the most amazing
Like a takeoff, right?
takeoff.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's not changing gears. There's not one moving part in a Tesla except for the windshield wipers and the steering wheel.
Yeah.
There's no oil, there's no gas, there's no like fluid, it's just, and transmission, it just
Yeah,
like
it's just straight
goes
takeoff.
fast. It's amazing. It's a crazy feeling.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're on the highway, and so we're getting off one of the exits. So I put my blinker on, and when it was safe, it turned lanes, and then it got off, and I didn't touch it. I didn't do a thing,
Yeah.
and then it stopped at a 4-way stop, and so we're all stopped. Of course, there's other cars like wondering what I'm doing because I'm not
Yeah.
going, and I didn't realize you had to press the gas again. So I was like, all right, well, let me press the gas. Well, I had to make a right turn, and so I'm letting it go forward, and I'm wondering when it's going to make this right turn,
Yeah,
and it's
and it
not.
never
And
made
I'm
it.
going into a car that's going this way, and at the last second I grab it and move it.
Yeah.
Well, like once you grab hold of the steering wheel, it kind of resists you because it thinks you're trying to get into a like
ongoing traffic.
yeah, it
Yeah.
like had a hard time seeing what I was doing, and I thought I was gonna like
Right.
die
Yeah.
from a self-driving car because I relied too much on it. And I
Yeah.
feel like if I did some more testing and I did some more like reading up on it,
Yeah.
like they tell you to do before you get, then I would have had a better experience. But have you ever seen the Office episode where Dwight and Michael are driving and the navigation tells him to turn right, and he turns right into a lake? And Michael's like, no, it says to go straight. And Dwight's like, no, it's a lake. You can't go this way. And they drive into a lake.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what it was like driving a Tesla. It's like,
Yeah.
it's doing what it's doing, and I'm not going to fight it. But it's just like, self-driving, they say, will only work if everything is automated. And because humans have errors, and humans like will
Yeah.
cause self-driving cars to not to run as well as it could be as if everything was self-driving. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we still have
Quite
a
a
little
while.
way to go,
Yeah.
but it's quite an experience.
Yeah, definitely.
It's free. You should
Yeah.
just try it.
It's just like a couple hours or 1 hour?
1 hour.
Yeah.
And I would think about getting a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
No joke. They look weird.
Yeah.
They look like a
They
lunar.
look kind of cool. I really like the moon roofs on the Teslas.
Yeah.
I like those.
Those
a lot.
are cool.
Yeah. Does this Cybertruck have a moon roof?
I don't know, but it's bulletproof.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bulletproof, and it looks like a supersized DeLorean is how I
Yeah.
feel like it is. So I don't
It looks
know.
like you just run stuff over.
Futuristic.
With it,
Yeah, it is. But it does not look like a truck. But
yeah,
when
it doesn't. It kind of looks like a car.
it does, oversized car. When you take the bed, like when you pull out the bed, it looks kind of like a truck at that point. But anyway, the Gigafactory is here in
Austin.
yeah,
in Austin. Right?
I just met with some Tesla people like yesterday
Yeah.
at Texas State because they want to get some students in on internships and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I've got some contact info for people, so I'm excited to maybe get some students in there, man.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually had a couple people like that that have stopped at the shop that say they're like good work at Tesla.
And they work at Tesla.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Do they have a Tesla?
No, they do not have a
No,
Tesla.
weird.
2 of them were just like they didn't like work for. They're like still they were making it. They said they work there over here like in Gonzales and they like commute all the way every day.
Wow.
But I know there is a lot of like jobs getting offered there at Tesla because there with my dad's company there was like 3 guys that got offered and my dad also got a call
Wow.
from like Tesla that they're like taking people.
Really?
Yeah.
So is Tesla the future? Are we going to be driving self-driving cars and electric cars in the next 10 years, 20 years?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I don't know actually.
What's the future of transportation? In
Yeah.
50 years, just imagine. Will it be flying cars? They always said like by the year
Have you
2000.
seen? We have flying. There is flying cars. Have you
Drones?
seen those? It's like you have to have like a pilot's license, but it's basically like the car.
Wow.
And it's like it has wings in the back, like it like has wings in the back, but in the first part it looks like mainly a car.
And these are like civilians driving flying cars, but you said
Yeah.
you have to have a
Yeah, you have to have a
license.
pilot's license. There's
Man.
I saw it I saw it on Instagram.
It's this world. I don't
Yeah.
know. Well, what about drones? Self-driving drones.
I've never heard of that.
So, if you take an Uber in New York City, you can take a driving Uber, or if you're going to the airport, they will get a drone to fly to your house. It's called Uber Flies or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And a helicopter drone will come pick you up and take you to the airport.
Interesting. I feel like I've seen TikToks like with the helicopter option.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's a drone or is it a helicopter?
Well, I think it's a drone. Like they call it drone.
Yeah.
But I think there must be a pilot in there because I
Yeah.
don't think I'd trust a computer
Just
flying
to
me
take you
around
the
town.
whole, the whole
Yeah.
time.
But like I do think that could be a very big part of like the future.
Transportation.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
like
Do you,
just pick you up and
do you
fly
think
you.
subways and like trains would still be a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, with the digital revolution, I feel like people are like, print will die, like we'll never read
Yeah.
books again. But it's like, no, it's just, it'll find its place.
Yeah.
Like we still have books, we still have print, and we'll always have trains, planes, automobiles, and like the traditional stuff. But it's just going to change,
There'll be more better ways, different ways.
Yeah. I don't think and like with Zoom and with being able to go in the metaverse and transport, maybe people travel less because they could just be in their homes.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, and it's like a lot cheaper way to travel.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, get a headset and then you could be in Thailand and do anything you want. I mean, it's funny how all this stuff is overlapping because, like, when you think about the future, I think there's some things that are cool and make our lives easier, and then some things like never change.
Yeah.
Like things like the things that make us tick, like really like alive. Like I feel like that'll never change. Oh yeah, that's true.
Road rage is different.
But I mean, like, not to get like philosophical, but like friendships and face-to-face communication,
it's
and
definitely
like
something we're losing.
Yes, and genuineness. Like there are things that technology can never replace.
Yeah.
And I think we have to come to a place where it's like, how can technology help us do the things that are good for us and not replace it? Like, there's nothing that will replace a face-to-face like interaction. Yeah. And I've learned that
it builds like a different type of like rapport rather than
yes.
like a over the phone or like FaceTime.
Yeah, like I learned that in classes. Like when I'm talking to a bunch of boxes on a screen, there's
It's just
no
not the
energy
same.
in that. Like
Yeah.
it just feels like it sucks your energy. But when you're in a room and everybody's there and like
Yeah, you can
intently
like feel their like, energy.
Yeah. So like I feel like we can't let technology. We have to let it like enhance our lives instead of like make it worse. And I think like what a lot of people use technology for is like individual like experience, like VR headset. You're alone in your room, you know, isolated.
Yeah.
But the thing about like I think what it could be would be like we both have headsets on, we could still see each other, but it makes it communal to where like we're both on the moon and we're both like experiencing something together. So I think the more like communal you can make something,
it'll be better.
Generally.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's
definitely,
weird.
Yeah, I definitely feel you because I feel like there is kind of like that false reality with social media.
Yeah.
That like definitely kind of like I think triggers like like our generation, my generation, like just growing up thinking like everything should be like a certain way, and like in a way like perfect when like it's really nowhere close to how it is.
Yeah, or people like learning the value of working hard, you know, or not, or like learning the value in suffering, you know, because suffering happens to everybody, no matter what you're going through. But if you escape suffering by just putting a headset on and, you know, whatever, or you escape feeling like, you know, having a deep friendship because you just want to sit on a computer all day, like life happens, and that's not a bad thing. Like suffering can be really like valuable and like
it's a learning experiment.
It's a human the human experience. Like, so not all things that seem like they're bad are really bad. They happen to everybody. And like if you try to escape that,
you have to go through it to learn from it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. I learned that through my dad. He's been having some really hard time with his ears. I don't know if I told you that.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, he had a thing called tinnitus, which is a ringing in his ear, but then it turned to like a fizzing, like a shh, and it disrupted his whole life. And like, but I've seen him grow from it rather than like just let it defeat him.
Yeah.
And he pushes through, you know, meditation, through prayer, through seeking God and seeking, you know, get through it rather than just give up. And I've seen, you know, it's easy, you know, to feel like it's, you know, you just want to give up, but you know, we're resilient creatures, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Have you ever done this thing? So I want you to like put your hands together like this, and then I want you to grab your right hand and push against your left hand.
Got it. Done.
And then just keep doing that.
Okay.
And I never told you to push against your left hand, but you naturally gave resistance. Because you didn't want to.
So what is
that? Because you didn't like. You just don't. We don't like. Just like you were saying, we're resilient creatures. Like we don't like just giving up that easily.
Right. That's good. That's a cool little.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna teach my students that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we like naturally don't want to give up. There's a quote. I don't know who said it. I know it was like an Indian like kind of like guru, I think, and he was like, people say like they want to kill themselves all the time, and he was like, and I tell him, okay, well if that's what you want to do, like go, I'll do it for you. But you just have to tell me, like, or you're completely fine with it. And he was like, and none of them ever go through with it because it's not their true feeling. It's just their, like, how they're, like, their feeling that they're feeling at the moment.
Yeah, it's just a moment, and that, like Mother Teresa said, this too shall pass. Like, you know, walking through something makes you stronger, you know?
Definitely.
And, like, it's kind of like, you know, working out. You don't grow if you don't stretch. You don't grow if you don't add more resistance. You know, resistance builds character, resistance builds muscle, and you know, where would we be if we just lifted air all day? Like you wouldn't be strong like you are, man. I know you've been working out, right?
Yeah, I've been working out. I've been slacking, but I've been working out.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well,
you
know,
been working out?
Yeah, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6:30 a.m. San Marcos Athletic Club, the Smack.
Yeah, go find himself.
Yeah,
go find him there.
Heck yeah. But yeah, it's been going good. I've been enjoying life, and yeah,
definitely. How's working out been for you? I was working out pretty consistently, but then I started working in construction, and like that kind of threw my schedule off. And I've been using it as an excuse because there's definitely been times I can go in, but I started working out the past 2 days, and I will say like I'm not sore, like I don't feel like a soreness, but at work like my arms get like way more tired faster.
Heck yeah, man. No, it's been, so I would say from August through January off. Like I didn't work out much at all. I felt horrible. I just didn't. Cause I moved into my new place. I was like, just didn't feel like I had a routine, and that was like, it threw me off. And then when the new year hit, my friend was like, hey, let's go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6:30 a.m. And I was like, all right, if somebody's there waiting for me, if I have an appointment, if I have accountability, I'll be there. So
because you kind of feel like you have to be there.
Yeah, right. So for the last month and a half, we both have been every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's been great. So we do, chest day, back day, leg day. We do arms every day, but like we try to mix it up with different workouts and stuff. And it's been going really good. I've been wanting, like you said, Peloton. I've been also needing to do some cardio. Yeah. And the older I get, the less I want to run. And I used to love running. Like, I don't know why I used to love it, but now I don't know. I feel like biking could be my next.
Yeah, biking's pretty fun. I personally like biking more, but there's been times where we've like gone out of town. Yeah. And like I didn't want to do like I kind of got tired of doing like push-ups, sit-ups, and those. Yeah. So I was like, I'm gonna go run, and like I usually don't like running at it. I haven't ran like consistently. Like I've ran maybe like it's like a quick little sprint, but like consistently since like high school. So it's been about a year. And then like I was like, I'm just gonna go for a run, and then like I started running, and at first like the first 2 minutes it was like horrible. I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this. And it was just like I couldn't find my breathing rhythm, and it was just like super bad. Like, and then I was like, I gotta finish it off because I was like, I'm gonna go 30 minutes like no matter what.
Yeah, that's good.
So then I like kept going, and the place we're at like it was nighttime because I usually work out at night. So it's like it was like 9 o'clock. And we were in a neighborhood, but it was like I just saw straight, so I was like, I'll be straight away the whole time. And like I turned the corner, and there was like a bunch of hills, and I was like, what the heck? So I'm like 2 minutes in, I'm like hitting the turn, I see all the hills, and I'm like, all right, I gotta figure this out because I already told myself I'm going 30 minutes. So and then I start going up the hills, and then it just starts like coming super natural, and then I think it's like a runner's high. That's what it's called, right? Because I just like took off, like I picked up my stat, like my speed picked up, I caught my breathing, and I was just like going for the best run of my life.
That's awesome.
But then like after, I was like, once the time went off and like I slowed down, I was like super exhausted.
Peace, I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do in those moments of like you want to give up? What keeps you going? Like what goes through your mind? How do you like motivate yourself when you're like, I can't do this anymore, but I do it anyway? Like, do you have something you say to yourself? Do you have like a method for getting through it when you're ready to quit?
Yeah, I do incantations.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of those? It's kind of just like the I forgot what they're called. Affirmations, but you do it like with more energy and more power, and you put like, your whole body into it.
Like I got this.
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll do that. So the one that I've done like the longest, I'd say since like last March, is I'm gonna use a little bit of profanity, but I like get into it and I'm like, I'm fucking unstoppable, and I get into it and I like go into it like super hard. And then I do that one, and I try to do that one at my beginning of my workouts because that's like when it helps the most. And then I just put it in towards the ends, like whenever I need it.
Okay.
But things like I tell like myself like in my head, and I'll like because I say that one like out loud. Yeah. But in my head I'll be like I gotta complete it. Like I didn't come this far from where I used to be
go
to
this
just
far.
like quit. Yeah. Yeah. Like and then like I tell myself like if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one. I just pick a tree in the distance. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to that tree, and I get to the tree, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to that thing. And you kind of have to have those like just checkpoints, you know, because if you think of the end, you will be defeated. Yes, you got to think of it like they say. How do you eat an elephant?
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
You never heard that?
I've never heard of that.
How do you eat an elephant? How would you answer that?
You probably got to start like super small.
Well, you eat it one bite at a time. Yeah, you know, and that's the idea. Is that like how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's how life is. You got to take it one day at a time, one moment at a time, and that like I think is where people get like bogged down is they think of like all the things that like their regrets and the things that where they're not and what they don't have and where they should be and all these things. It's like, well, just get through today. Like if you can just like be thankful for the things that you have and look at that next goalpost and make goals for yourself, I feel like that can definitely
go a long way.
Very much
having
so.
Something to look forward to.
And it's like the little victories are the ones that get you where you need to go. Yeah. And
don't so much try to take such a big jump because it's like the ladder. Like there's little steps. It's not just one big.
Exactly. And then when you I was listening to this podcast about habits. Yeah. And how like 90% of the new habits that you try out, you fail at because you try too much too soon. Like if it's a new year and you're like, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, and maybe you do it for a week, and then it just all comes crumbling down because you just had too much. Goals are great, and so what he said was like, there's three main points to any good habit or any habit that sticks. One is motivation, and that is the desire to change, right?
Yeah.
So like
You have to actually want it.
you have to want it. You have to have some kind of motivation to do it. Second is a trigger.
Like your why?
Yeah, or like if you're like, all right, I want to lose weight, and I want to do that by eating smaller portions, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Well, your trigger is you're hungry.
The trigger like, what's going to get in the way of getting you to
or
your
what's
goal?
the trigger to say, this is my decision point. Should I do it or not? So a trigger can be like one guy said, well, I'm going to, every time I go to the bathroom, I'm going to do push-ups.
Yeah.
His trigger was his bladder. So what's the thing that's going to remind you or trigger you to either do or not do that thing? So it's the motivation, a trigger, and then the third one is how easy it is.
Yeah.
So if it's a super hard thing to do, you're very less likely to do it.
Complexity kills.
Complexity kills. That's good. Keep it simple, student is what I say. Keep it simple, student, not stupid. And so what he did was he was like, I'm gonna lose weight. The way I'm gonna do it is every time I go to the bathroom, I'm gonna do one push-up.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, why are you doing one push-up? He's like, number one, it's an easy victory. I know I can do it. I'll be more likely to do that push-up if it's only one. And 90% of the time when I go down there for one push-up, I'm going to do 10. I'm going to do 20. And so when you shoot for one and you get 20, you feel great about yourself. It's like positive reinforcement. So if you make it, not to say lower the bar, but make it easy for yourself to succeed, it's
you're
like...
You're not making all these hard things to make it... for you to feel successful.
Or like meal prep is a great example. Like on a Sunday, if you could just make all those meals for the week, when you're triggered to eat, you want something easy, you want something now, right? And how easy is it to call Gumby's or call McDonald's or go get fast food? It's a lot easier to do that than it is to cook a meal. But if you have everything, how easy is it to walk to the fridge and open a pre-planned meal? Very easy. So that's the thing, is like make it easy to succeed, and those habits will stick. And so it is those small victories that get you through to change.
Definitely.
So it was an interesting podcast and an interesting perspective, because we often make things harder than they should be. But
what do you think is the breaking point to change? And do you think we need something? Do you think we need to be at the bottom of the barrel, have something tragic happen to us for us to change?
Sometimes. I think sometimes. I think either to truly change, I think in my life, I know that I changed when I became a Christian. For me, it was a spiritual awakening, and that was something that I could not have done on my own at all. God met me, He changed me, and I'm a different person than I was. But it was because I reached a low point that I was like, what I'm doing is not working for me, God. And I had to just reach out and say, God, I need help. And at that point of desperation is when God stepped in and did His thing. Because we can try all we want to change, but to me, I believe that only true change can come from within. And you can change your habits, you can change all these outside things, but to truly change inside is something that only God can do. It's a surgery, it's an inner change. And so I think we can change things about us. One day I woke up and I did not like sweet coffee anymore. I don't know what it was, but I was like, I used to not excuse me,
no, you're good.
Understand why people like black coffee. I could not stand it. One day I woke up, I tried it, and I was like, I love this. This is great. And I've never gone to sweet coffee again. So I don't know what happened.
So
my
now
taste,
you just drink all your coffee black.
All coffee black.
Well, our taste was actually changed every 5 years.
There you go. That changed. Okay. So you can change. But I feel like there are things in my life that I've quit something cold turkey and never did it again or whatever. But those things didn't really change me into a different person. You know, I feel like we can change some habits, but to really truly change, it has to come from within. And that's not something I can do in and of myself. That's what I've learned in my life, is just I have to rely on God to change me from within every day. And it's a process, and when I look back 5 years ago, I can say, wow, I'm a different person than I was 5 years ago. And it's sometimes hard to see the changes that happen in our lives, but when we could set goalposts and checkpoints in our lives and be like, wow, I may be failing in this same area,
Yeah.
But look at all these other areas that I have changed in. Thank you, God. Like, I couldn't have done that without you, kind of type of stuff. So,
Definitely.
yeah, change.
It's just like appreciating every little thing.
It is.
And it's not so much like thinking about like what we don't have, it's what we do have already.
Be appreciative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of so many little things that we take for granted every day, like just waking up, moving, being able to move.
I know. Some people can't.
Yeah, exactly. Or like they wake up and they can't, like they just can't move. I think that's recently.
Or put on a headset and
then
now you can.
Recently, like I don't know why, like I just had a dream that I like woke up and I couldn't see, and
Really?
I have like a keratoconus. I don't know. It's like where my eyes are like kind of, instead of being like oval, they kind of shape into a cone. I need to have surgery, but I'm kind of iffy about it.
That's a risk.
Yeah. But I had like a dream that like I woke up and like I couldn't see like anything. Like I guess I went blind. So like now every time like before I go to sleep, like the past week, like it's been on the back of my head. Like, am I gonna wake up and not be able to open my eyes or like not be able to see?
That's scary, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, lately I've heard. I mean, this is.
You want another dream?
Oh no, I'm good. But I was thinking of Bob Saget passed away. Do you know him?
No.
He was the dad on Full House, and he was a comedian. Anyway,
Yeah.
So it was like really tragic because he was like 65 maybe or something.
He
but
was too old.
yeah, but the thing is, they found out he hit his head, and he just went to sleep, and then he never woke up. And it's just like those small things that like your fear of like, am I gonna? It's like that could happen. Actually, I hate to say that.
Yeah.
It's not going to. I'm not speaking that, but like.
Yeah.
Man, you never know. Like, that's the thing about life is, like, you are not promised tomorrow. You are not promised next week. And often we think that we're owed something. And really, I think you need to live every day for the day. And, and just, not think too far in the future.
Yeah.
Not think about your past. But what do they say? The present is a gift, right?
Definitely. I think it kind of like I've been trying to work on being more in the present.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know it's like not possible to be too much in the present. But sometimes I feel like I'm too much in the present, and I'm kind of like start questioning life, and I'm like, is this really happening right now?
Yeah. Those questions are good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely important to
but
ask.
Like it's definitely like a self-evaluation. And it's kind of like,
that's good.
What am I doing in life? Like, am I like okay? Like, what is this? What I want to be doing?
It's important. I mean, those are big questions. Like. But it's never too late to change.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like when you're going the wrong way on the highway, the worst thing you could do is just keep going straight. It's like, just take the next exit. It doesn't matter how far you've gone. And one of my favorite movies is called Vanilla Sky. Have you ever seen it?
I haven't.
Tom Cruise, Penelope Cruz. It's this guy who, like, gets into a tragic accident. All these stories that I have of, like, movies or TV shows of people getting into accidents. But anyway, he, kind of like the movie I was talking about, Upload, but, like, he has massive like facial reconstruction done, and he has to wear this mask, and like anyway he just feels like he's like
different.
He's treated different from his friends and all this stuff. Anyway, so he also goes into like a lucid state. Anyway, it's the same thing as Upload, which is weird, but anyway, in the movie Penelope Cruz's character says it's never too late to turn everything around. Every passing moment is another chance to turn it all around. And that to me is like important to remember, is because we think we've gone down a road so far, or like I could never be that, or I could never change. Every moment is another chance to just change everything and start going in a totally different direction. Like that's I really respect people who could do that. No matter how far they've gone, or like how old they are, or like
there's like I don't know them off the top of my head like their names, but I know there are millionaires that didn't like become like millionaires until like their late 40s, and it was just like randomly, like it just came like out of like a random hobby that they started or something. Or
like actors who are like 60 and they're like the biggest character on a movie, but they were nothing till they were like 60. Not to say they were nothing, but like
they were
never
nothing
know
compared to what they are now.
Unknowns, and so like you never know when your break is going to be. You never know when that next, opportunity will happen. And
it's like Conor McGregor. Like he was like just a plumber, and then
that's
now
true.
He has like crazy.
Like
he's a UFC fighter. That's how he got known. But like now he has all these investments that have like basically set him up. And it's
crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the point. Is like it's never too late to chase your dreams or do something different. And if you've got the motivation to do it, like
you can make anything happen.
Yeah, make small steps to get there. But
So that's kind of funny that you said that, because I don't think you know that I am actually going to close my CBD shop here at the end of the month.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So what would be some advice that, since you just mentioned that?
Be a podcaster, man.
Be a podcaster. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. That's definitely something I want to continue.
What I would do is I would like write like maybe 5 things down that you love doing, that you could do all day, you could talk about all day, or just 5 things that you're passionate about, and then give each one of them like its own due time and like space to grow it, and like just see where God blesses you and opens that door. And so that's I mean, I don't know. You never know until you try it. Like definitely. I never ever could have predicted that I would be where I'm at at all.
I can totally agree with you. Like, I definitely did not see myself doing this.
Yeah. But
now I feel like it fits. It fits like what I'm doing.
It does. Yeah. It's crazy how like if you just are faithful, you'll get where you need to be.
Yeah.
And life will like open doors, that you never thought. So I don't know. That's exciting, though. I didn't know that.
Yeah, for sure. It's something that like I kind of just came out of, I guess, in a way, the blue. Like I kind of didn't realize.
Yeah.
And then once I realized, I was like, okay, well, if I don't want to do this long term, then there's no reason to continue it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can always do it on the side.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, finding that passion that you want to do.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, like, I like technology. I like what I do, and I teach and everything. But like, I think for me, I'm more of like, one big differentiation you should make is like, do you like working with people or do you like working with things? Like, can you sit in a room and like code all day and not talk to anybody, and will that give you joy? Because some people it will. Or can you like sort mail all day and just like do your thing and work with things, or work on a machine and like dig holes or whatever you're doing? Or are you the type of person who gets energy off people and wants to like and like just wants to help people and stuff
I feel like
that.
I'm more like I need people around.
Okay.
Like we'll be at work sometimes, like in construction, and we'll have like sometimes like if it's like we have times where like we separate from each other.
Yeah.
Like usually we work together, kind of close to each other. But if it's like a bigger job, like we'll all go separate ways and do our own thing.
Yeah.
And there's like times where it was like a full day of like I was just digging by myself.
Yeah.
And it was like super boring. Like it was fun at first. Like the first hour, I was like, this is gonna be so much fun. I'm gonna be alone. I'm gonna have my music on. And then like an hour and a half in, 2 hours, I started getting really bored. Like it was just the same thing.
Yeah.
Over and over, and I was just like thinking, and I like. It was like, in a way, like I ran out of things to think of, so I'd rethink the same thing, and then I just like replayed the situation, and then it was just like...
Some people like that, though.
Yeah.
Like, some people will like
do you like that, or
no,
do you know?
No. I am definitely a people... And that's what I had to realize, too, is like, even though I do... Like, I like technology, it's like, I can't sit in a room all day and just code.
Yeah.
I need to, like, be with people, talk with people, meet up with people, bounce ideas off people. So I'm definitely more... And that's why, like, I teach, It's like, I like to see students, like, ideas and, like...
like the interaction.
And then you have to have a lot of patience, to do
definitely.
what I do, but like it's worth it, to see their dreams like come to fruition, and to see them like get jobs and like see their passions and stuff. So I'm definitely more of a people.
Yeah.
So
what are some jobs you can get after like graduating with like that virtual reality class?
Well, one student of mine is just now interviewing for a job at Unity, which creates 360 environment, 3D environments. So that's cool. You can work at a company that makes software for that stuff. And I would say that most students won't get a job in the space of virtual reality, but it's that extra tool in their tool belt, because they are storytellers, they are journalists, they are PR people or advertising people, and the whole world is kind of getting into this augmented virtual reality. So if they work for like a PR firm, advertising firm, maybe they could add a little bit of a like face filter, or like get in the Snapchat game and build a some kind of a AR game or something. Like, who knows? But it's like
the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, it's like that one extra little way to get them that edge. And their final project in my class, I'm like, just make something that impresses me.
Yeah.
Like, imagine going into a job interview and pulling out your phone and saying, hey, well, take a look at this AR app I made. Like, that would impress me if I were an employer. I'd be like, oh, this is cool. This person knows, like, more than any other applicant. And so that's what I tell them. Make a project that you would be proud to bring into a job interview. So that's, like, what I have them do.
Yeah.
And, like, same with my coding class, JavaScript and interactive, like, HTML, CSS and stuff. I teach them the basics, and then if they love it, they could be a web developer. They could go on and, like, do whatever they want. But it's that extra, like, tool.
That tool.
Yeah. So I would say if you're, like, trying to learn stuff or, like, trying to figure out what you want to do, they have all these like free classes like Udemy.com, Khan Academy.
I heard of Khan Academy.
Have you?
I've used it before.
Yeah, or just YouTube. You'll probably learn from a 12-year-old how to do like half of the things you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there are tons of like, opportunities out there that you can just learn on your own.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
you don't need like to spend a bunch of money on a college degree to like find your next passion or do something that'll make you successful.
Definitely.
You can find out from a 12-year-old on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So what you're into storytelling, right? You're the like a storyteller in class.
Mhm.
So tell me a story that it's really interesting and has a
Ooh,
lesson.
wow.
Or one of your
okay.
top stories.
Wow.
Or either or.
Is
that
that
another drink from?
no thanks. Is it a story like that happened to me or a story that I'm making up, like a narrative?
Surprisingly.
Okay.
I mean, I'll try to assume if it happened.
All right, here's my story. When I first went to Texas State as a grad student, we were studying like how social media was changing the media, traditional media. So like Twitter started becoming a thing. Like when Facebook first came out, it was just a social network. Like it was like all these friends from high school who I hadn't talked to in like 2 years had all these Facebook accounts, and it was like, okay, I'll try. Like, so I would like message people. They couldn't even do messaging. It was just writing on people's wall. There was no news feed. It was just totally a way to connect with my friends from high school. It was just no thought in my mind that like Nike would someday have a Facebook account or the New York Times would have a Facebook account. It was just like, this is this fun little messaging thing I'm doing or whatever. And then came along Twitter as a grad student, and I was like, what could I use Twitter for? Why do people care what I ate for breakfast, what I'm doing right now, what I think of the Super or whatever? Like, it felt so trite. Like, who am I talking to? What am I saying? This is so dumb. But as a grad student, we were learning how the media was starting to use Twitter to hear about situations in the news or like disseminate news and stuff. So I had maybe like 30 followers. It was just me and my grad student friends who were like once in a while sharing an article with each other. It was just like dumb stuff. So on one of the breaks, it was like Christmas break, and I was flying from the Austin airport to Detroit. So I get in the plane, I sit down, and they do this big announcement, and they say, there is a situation on the plane. We are going to ask everyone to deplane right now. Please step off the plane as soon as you can. So there was a security breach, is what they said. It was a bomb threat. There was a bomb threat on the plane. So we're all getting up on my plane. So I went to Twitter. I didn't have a smartphone at the time. This is like 2010 maybe. And the only way to tweet out anything from a dumb phone was to text 40404, and then you could type your message. But you had to press like 5552244 to get the...
And did you have like a flip phone, or was it like
flip
a
phone.
flip phone?
Yes, flip phone.
Yeah.
And so I'm like writing out as like crappy as I can, like, we are being deplaned right now. There's a bomb threat on the plane. And I'm giving like these updates, text updates to who? Like 30 people that are following me. So we get off the plane, and then I'm like, well, they're patting us down now. And then we get to a spot where they give us crackers and water. And I'm like, now they gave us crackers and water. I took a picture of it and sent it and all this stuff. So my friend, who was also into Twitter at the time, he texted me, he was like, hey, are your tweets like real? Like, is there really a bomb threat right now? And I was like, yeah. Like, and he's like, well, do you mind if I forward this along to like Austin news organizations? I was like, sure. So within about 20 minutes, I didn't know it, but I was being like retweeted, I was being replied, and all this stuff from like news organizations, but I couldn't get the responses because I had a dumb phone. I couldn't get any. I didn't know what was happening. And then so finally my friend who worked at KUT in Austin, she was like an intern there, and she was like, hey, can we do a radio story on what's happening right now? I was like, yeah, for sure. So I called in. They called me, and I was on the radio, and then KXAN in Austin picked up the story too, and it was like now getting to be like 5 o'clock for the 5 o'clock news, and the reporter called me and said, hey, this is the #1 story in Austin right now. Austin Bergstrom Airport, nobody's saying anything about this bomb threat. The Austin police, nobody's saying anything about the bomb threat. You are the source for anything that we're learning about this bomb threat. Can we go live at 5? This is the #1 news story in Austin. And I was like, of course, yeah, I'll do that for sure. And I went to school for broadcasting. I wanted to be a broadcaster, news reporter. So I was like, this is my chance. Heck yeah. So like, anyway, when the 5 o'clock news happened, 5 o'clock, I got a call on my phone, and they found a picture of me online. They found some Facebook photo, and then they started like typing up what I was saying on the screen. And like, I remember saying on the phone, I was like, yeah, there was this little girl behind me, and I heard her say, "Daddy, I'm scared." And then they kept using that clip, "Daddy, I'm scared. Daddy, I'm scared," throughout the whole thing. And I was just like, this is everything I hate about
the news.
media. Yeah, it's like so sensationalized. So anyway, so like, as we're driving back to the fuselage of the airplane, they found out there was no bomb threat. There was no bomb at all, and we're ready to go. So as I'm on the phone with them, I was like, yeah, they just said there's no bomb threat. There's actually no bomb. So I'm sorry. Sorry, there's no bomb. But like, so anyway, when I flew to Chicago, when I landed, because it was my layover, I had to stay with a friend because our plane got delayed so much that I went online to see what did they do on this 5 o'clock news. So I saw like what they put together, and it was this like really like super like sensationalized story of like they took a wide shot of a plane and they started shaking the camera, and they were like, John Smickley thought this was a typical day at the airport until there was a bomb threat. Daddy, I'm scared. And like they put all these things together, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like everything I hate about media. But it was funny. I think that news story is out there somewhere, but to me, it showed me, like you're asking a lesson that I learned through this, but like as a grad student, it was like, wow, like the ability to be able to publish a story, like for me to inform the world about a situation that's happening, or we've seen it in like social movements, like hashtags, like all kinds of movements and things in countries, and like what's really happening in Crimea right now, what's really happening in Russia, what are people actually saying about the war in Afghanistan?
Wait, what's really happening?
On the brink of war.
I stay out of that. Because like during quarantine, I was really into it like heavy, and I was like,
we're on the brink of possible war with Russia, right? Yeah.
Okay, I've kind of heard a little bit of it, but then I saw it, and I was like, all right.
Well, the point is, you hear about like what the news says about it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But we can actually look on Twitter and see what Russians are saying about it, see what Ukrainians think about it, and it is truly like a democratic, like the ability for anyone to publish is a great thing, you know. It's also has its challenges, like you don't want anybody to publish how to build a bomb, but like you do want to hear people's opinions and thoughts on things. So to me, it was that moment of like, wow, like the internet is a very different, like the citizen journalism, the ability for anyone to publish and tell a story is really powerful. And for me, I got to see that firsthand when social media first came out, and so like, and it also showed me like, why wait for the 5 o'clock news to see a non-event? Because there was no bomb threat. There was no bomb. And it showed me, like, in traditional media, why wait for, like, a newspaper that's going to come to your doorstep? As soon as you open that newspaper, you're already reading yesterday's news because it was all printed yesterday. Even no matter how early you get in the morning. Same with the 5 o'clock. Why wait to a time? And now we're in a world where news happens everywhere you're at all the time, which can be overpowering. Like it could be like too much,
stressful.
But like, and that's why we have to be careful, like how much we consume and stuff like
that. You can get like sunken into like a rabbit hole.
Oh, for sure, and overloaded and stressed and like in a bad mood and stuff. But to me, like especially as a media teacher, it was that moment of like, this is like more powerful than I ever thought, and it's pretty cool. But anyway, now tell me, was that real or fake? Did I make all that up?
I think that was real.
Is that what you were trying to figure out?
I think that is real. In a way, like in the middle, I started thinking, I was like, this is totally fake.
Oh, really?
But I kind of feel like it's real. Is it real?
It's real.
It's real?
Yeah. I couldn't make something that intricate up, although I probably could. But so, man, that's my story.
I think I started like thinking, like questioning if it was fake whenever you were like that you got on the phone with them. And then whenever it was an end, like whenever it ended, I was like, no, I feel like that was actually kind of real.
Yeah, I want to find the news clip. Like it's somewhere out there. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy how much like in a way like freedom we have. Like you were saying, like with the movements, like we can make anything happen. Yeah. And it's like anything can happen in almost like in a blink of an eye. Yep.
And journalists can use what people are saying and publishing to listen. It's a great listening tool to be like, wow, like what are the news? What's happening around our world? You know.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and it's there for people to complain about what they ate for dinner or their flight got canceled. You know, I mean, it's for better or for worse. There's always going to be the Karens
It's
who are
just how we use
complaining.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
How
So
we can take advantage of it or use it to our ability.
yeah.
So what has been something, this is like a little bit on a deeper side, but
Yeah.
what is a feeling, I saw this on TikTok, actually, and I was like, I'm totally going to ask this question. What is a feeling that you used to feel that you no longer haven't felt?
Wow, that's a good one. Man, a feeling that, I think like as a kid, you feel like so, like, think like the last day of school.
Yeah.
That feeling of like, I'm done, like
Yeah.
the whole summer's ahead of me. Like,
Yeah.
that feeling of just like
Pure
total
excitement.
I just imagine like taking your binders and books and throwing them in the air and running away. Like, I feel like we don't really have that, because even though I work for a school and like we have semesters and they end, and there's no like feeling like that, of just like totally joy of just like and play, like I think that like there's a lot like when we get to be
funness.
Adults, you get in a routine, and you don't have that play side of you that we need. Like, we're humans, like we need time to step away from like our work and just do something so fun, like so
like, take time to ourselves.
Yeah
Definitely.
What about yourself? Do you have any feelings that you have used to feel but don't feel anymore?
Yeah, for sure there's feelings. I just have to give me a couple seconds. I guess I would for sure say that feeling as well, like that pure excitement
of a kid,
Yeah, definitely. I think I would have to say, I don't know. I feel like recently, like where life is taking me, like it's kind of like a weird space, like it's
unsure.
Kinda, like
what's
unsure.
ahead of you.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I know that it's gonna be okay, but at the same time, it's like I want to know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
well, it's kind of just like the reality that I will never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like I feel like in a way that like I've never actually realized that, and now that I realize it, it's kind of like a.
I think maybe what you're getting at is like, and I feel this too, is like when I was in college or when I was in high school, you have this like bubble, and like you just are like, you're protected, you've got your bills paid, your parents are paying for stuff, like if anything goes wrong, your parents are gonna help you out of it. Like, it's such a bubble, you know, no responsibility, no real responsibility. And then when you're an adult, it's like it is up to you at that point to be like, shoot, what am I gonna do? Like, how am I gonna provide? Like, you do have that, like, the bubble is kind of gone, and like but I mean, the fact is, like, you can still live in that bubble knowing that God's got you, period, like God has protected you. But that's like that is a feeling that I've felt too. It's like, dang, like
I never thought of it that way, but I could totally put it into that perspective, like I would say. And it's kind of just like it's kind of like everything relies, like, kind of falls back on me, and I feel like that's what I've realized. Like, everything that I do will have either a positive or a negative consequence. I feel like there's been some decisions I've made that I've kind of been like, ooh, I could have played that out a little bit better.
But hey, every passing moment is another chance to turn it all around.
Exactly.
Vanilla Sky. Yeah.
So tell me, like what has been one of your biggest or greatest testimonies you've had personally, and one that you've heard?
Oh man, just in life?
Yeah, in life.
Man, I'd say recently it's been my dad's situation with his ears. Right? Because like, it's a really hard thing to watch someone who you respect and love and see as like such the strongest person ever, who is at a place where they're totally desperate and just not strong and like totally weak, and you have to be the strong one. And like, so it was a hard thing, because like, it's not like he was dying, but like, it was messing with every part. He couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat. He looked like, last year when I went home, because I hadn't seen him in a while, but he looked like he aged like 10 years. And I was like, oh my, like, you hate seeing someone, and he's always an active person, he's always working, but he's laying in bed all day. He's like so sad, and like, it's just like, this is not my dad. And it was just so hard. And we had like the priest come over and pray over him. We had like, I prayed over him, I gave him like scriptures to read. We did everything we could, even we prayed out to God, and like it was really, really hard to like see him go through that. But to have him, like, when you get to those situations in life where you're confronted with the worst of the worst, it's like you either run toward God or run away from God. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you've been through or what you're going through. Like, to me, you're someone who runs away or runs to. And he dug in and he just kept praying and kept laying there and, you know, and all this kind of stuff. So we did get him therapy, and that's been helpful too, because he saw a cognitive behavioral therapist. And this is someone who, like, all I can offer my dad is sympathy. Like, I'm sorry, like, I don't know what to say. Like, if somebody comes to you and says all this stuff, like, that you can't relate to, or like you feel sorry for him, but in the end, I don't know how that feels.
Yeah.
Well,
you can only relate to a certain extent.
Yeah, exactly. So we found this therapist who has tinnitus, who was exactly in the same place my dad was, and who is now healed of it. Not because he took a magic pill, but because he worked for 15 years and his brain has
Rewired itself.
Yeah, and gotten used to not hearing it. So he's on the other side of this thing. And so when we got a Zoom call with him, we got it on, and my dad's like, I'm hearing the sound and it's horrible. And he's just like, everything that he told this doctor, like, this is how bad it is. And the doctor was just like, I know. It's just a sound. And that was like, my dad just like, oh. Like, it kind of like threw him for a loop, because it wasn't like, well, have you tried this or do this or it was like, you're fine.
Broke his pattern.
Yeah, it's like shaking you and saying you're fine. Like, and so it was like, only he could do that because he had it, and he was in my dad's shoes, exactly where he was, and it broke my dad down to the point where it's like, oh, this isn't the end of the world. Oh, my life will get better. Oh, you have this too, and you're fine. It was hope. You know, and it was that moment of like, oh, so when we started doing some therapy and we on Zoom calls and stuff. So anyway, and a year later, so this last November, I went up north to go hunting, and my dad was telling me, or we were all reflecting, we're like, man, it's been a year since you started going through this, Dad. I can't believe it. Feels like it's been 10 years, but my dad was like, you know what? And I've seen transformation in my dad to where, because there is no pill, there is no answer, he is constantly seeking God. Every day at 3:00 he watches this like show, and he reads his Bible, he prays, and he's just a different person. Like, I cannot believe like just how much peace, even though despite the storm that he's still in, he has great peace. Yeah. And he is just a calm person. He's like, I don't know, it's just different. It's weird because like that is
just like the way he sees his life now is just completely different.
It's all through God. And he told me, he was like, you know what, I was laying on my bed, he's like, I felt like the Holy Spirit came over me and said to me, just give it time. And I was like, wow, that's amazing that like he had an encounter with God. God spoke to him, gave him a word of life for this season of his life. And he just said, you know, it's just all about Jesus. Like, he just kept telling me, like, it's all about God, and where else can I go? You know, at the end of the day, what else can I do? And so I was just like, that to me, I understand more so now why God does allow suffering. It's like what we were talking about earlier. You can't grow if you don't have resistance. And my dad has grown spiritually leaps and bounds because of this thing that he has had to rely and trust in God. Now, he's still not out of the woods. He still hears the sound, but it's better than it was, and he's a better person through it.
He's able to like cope with it.
And God may not change your situation, but he'll change you in the middle of it. And to me, that's more powerful than changing my situation, you know? And so that was the most, like, kind of lately, the most powerful testimony that I've heard, that I've been through, you know?
Yeah.
But
definitely.
Yeah. So
that's an amazing one right there, because that's like something that's it feels so incurable.
Yeah, right. And it is. There is no pill, there's no cure. And God could heal him like that. Yeah. But there's a reason that God does allow things to happen.
Yeah. The growth that comes from it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and it's kind of like, I feel like whenever you're at that lowest moment, that's whenever you like learn the most. And even though it feels like this is like what is going on, in like maybe a couple of years you'll be able to impact people's lives that you never even imagined.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because like you went through that situation.
Exactly. You can help them through it. You're stronger because of it. And a lot of people are like, why me, God? Why? Yeah, you could live like that for a while, you know. And he did go through that. Everybody does. But it's like grief, like the stages of grief. It's first denial. Why me? Why is this happening? No, like there's got to be a pill. There's got to be a cure.
Yeah.
And then bargaining of like, how much money can I put towards this, or what can I do? I'll do anything to get rid, bargaining. And then there's anger, and then there's all these stages going through. No matter what you go through, you lost a friend, lost a family member, lost an arm, like whatever you're going through, you'll go through all those stages, but it all ends up in acceptance. In the end, you have to make room in your life for this thing, whether you want it or not. And through all those stages, like, I feel like that's where my dad kind of is. He's like accepting, I can't fight this. I receive, not that you want it, and we still pray against it, but it's like, in the end, you accept it. And if God wants to take it away, he will. But it's that giving up of, I'm done fighting. Like, I'm done fighting this thing. And that's often what we do, is we just sit and we fight. And it's like, you want to fight, but like, let God fight. Yeah. That's the thing. Is like,
you can't be the problem and the solution.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, but yeah.
You have any more questions?
No, not really. It's been a great talk.
It definitely has been a great talk. Yeah. It's been a pleasure having you on. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What would you have to say? Is there anything you have to say to me or any of the people listening? Any advice?
All right. Let's see.
Anything?
Let's see. I would say,
what do you say to people who are like interested, like kind of about God, like they're interested in God, but they don't exactly know where to start? Or they feel like, in a way, like they feel lost. Like maybe they've known God, but they're just like drifted.
I think for me, like, God has always met me in my lowest points. Like, like it's never too late to turn around. It's never too late to change. And God is like, he's always coming after the person who's lost, the lost sheep. The person who is farthest away is usually like the one who's... Prophet's son. Who?
The prophet's son, the two of them. I think that's the story. Oh, right?
Is that the prodigal son?
Yeah, the prodigal son.
Yes. It's always the one who's farthest away that is the most ripe for an encounter with God, because like, you don't realize how much you need him till you're away, and that to me is like the story of the whole gospel message. Is just like, it doesn't matter how far you've been, what you've done, where you've gone, that is the one that God's coming after, the one that's farthest. It's like the sheep that got away. He's going to go look for that one sheep who went away, rather than the 99 that were together. And there's more cheering, they say, in heaven than one person who comes to know Jesus than, everybody else who's already knows him. So it's like, it's never too late, you're never too far, and, you've never done anything so bad that God's not ready and willing to receive and accept you. I think about King David when he, he was on his roof and he saw this woman bathing, and he went and he had sex with her. I don't know if he had sex or he raped her, but he had sex with her, got her pregnant while her husband was out fighting a battle. Yeah. And so to make things better, David decided to put the guy who's out in battle out in the front lines to kill him, so he doesn't find out what he just did with his wife. Yeah. And Nathan the prophet came up to David and said, "Hey, I know what you did. You not only slept with this man's wife, but then you killed him, and then the baby died." It's like all these things that he confronts him with, and then it's in, I think it's Psalm 51 or something, where it's a whole litany of David saying, like, God, I can't believe I did what I did. And, in the end it says God just wants someone with a contrite heart and a broken spirit, someone who is just broken. Yeah. And like, to me, he's not looking for you to be the best polished, perfect person. He's looking for the sinners, and so like, everything I've gone through or done, at least I didn't kill a man and sleep with his wife. I go through that. I'm like, okay, well, if God could forgive that and actually call David a man after his own heart, he can surely forgive me, for... One
thing someone told me here at the St. Mark's Community Church was that, like, no sin is, like, worse than the other. Like, it's all the sin is all evil.
Yep. Sin is sin. So, anyway, but, yeah, I mean, there's joy on the other side, and I would just say, yeah, that'd be my advice.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, it was a pleasure having you on, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Love you.
thank you.
Thank you so much. It's
Yeah.
awesome to see you so successful and just like doing what you love and your passion, and you know, you're an inspiration. So
Yeah,
keep
thank
it
you.
up.
Thank you. For sure, I will. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for coming out, and peace out.